Today's art prompt is a little bit more about self-journey rather than connected to our usual art and travel. I think self-journey is something that we can do forever and still need lots of work. So I'm kind of writing down this when you can't run anymore. And this is all about escapism. I've recently done a deep dive back into the Enneagram. I looked at it in the past, but I feel like I have kind of a different light while I'm looking at it now. So love Sarah Jane Case, Enneagram and Coffee. Her podcast is incredible, and certainly prompted some of these ideas. So I think at one point I had mistyped myself, possibly because I was kind of at an unhealthy state of my type, but also, I tend to always avoid pain, use escapism, try to fill any fear, pain, fill those voids. And so I'm really thinking about sitting in my emotions. So here I'm writing, you must sit in the truth. You must, feel the feels. Some people say sit in the shit, honestly. Really embracing that. And by embracing that, I'm also allowing myself to be a little bit in the present. Being someone that loves to travel, and I do a lot of my art prompts and my classes on travel. Travel can also be a way that I escape in a negative way. It can be a positive way, and there's lots of growth and self-reflection during it, a lot of connection to others, but it can also, sometimes I book a trip as a way of getting away from my reality. So, think about that as you book your next trip. And if you're prone to kind of run away from your issues, is it because you need an escape, you need rest, or is it because you're escaping something else within your life? This journal prompt is very vulnerable to me because I don't like to face my fears. I like to look at the positive, glass half full. I really don't love to sit with those fears or pain. I tend to avoid things. I go to avoidance, or sometimes at the worst case, to isolation. So I'm have this image that I found on Unsplash, and she really looks to me as if she's taking it all in. She's being present. She's feeling the feelings, and she's not running from it, which is sometimes the opposite of what I do. And so it's just a reminder. This journal prompt is a reminder for me to, sit with it, and sit with whatever I'm feeling, and then, move forward in the way that I see best, depending on what is going on. This need to reduce or minimize my pain, I have had since I could remember. As a kid, I would run off and go, to underneath a tree, or at a hiding spot behind a refrigerator, a little nook back there. So I tend to kind of run from those problems. So think about the way that maybe you encounter fear. Maybe you're not like me and you don't do avoidance and escapism, but you could still really think about this prompt and the ways in your life that maybe you avoid your own fears or pains. I wrote here that discomfort creates healing and it creates growth. Because you really do, those discomforts are really such growing points for us. And I'm realizing that, and I think, for me, what does escapism look like? It looks like looking outside of myself, for answers. It looks like booking a trip. It looks like keeping busy, staying constantly entertained, always on the go, looking for the future rather than being in the now. So lots of those things that can really impact me from, really getting through some of the issues rather than, later them coming up in my life. Quite honestly, doing this video is a huge step for me. I often keep things to myself. So not sharing my feelings with others, and just putting it on the page. There's a way of kind of healing in your art practice that you can do through your journal spreads. So if there's anything you're sitting with, maybe it's completely different than this prompt. Art journaling is such a powerful, powerful tool to, engage some of those thoughts and work through them. And a lot of times when I put them down, they really don't feel quite as bad. It's almost like a healing process as you go through. It's, for me, I personally put down, it's okay to share your pain with others. This is something I'm not very good at. I'm usually pretty independent. I really pride myself in my own independence and solving my own problems. And I'm not asking someone to solve them for me, but sometimes I do need to open up, not only for myself, but also so that those around me can see my vulnerability instead of this positive side all the time. So think about that and how you connect to that as well. Can you easily share with others? Do you keep to yourself? When keeping to yourself, does that lead to isolation? So, I'm even using my paintbrush here to just kind of scratch in some other thoughts that I have. Maybe I don't want the viewer to know all of them. And I'm covering up these ideas. The end product, you might not know at all what I was thinking through the process. And that's the beauty of art journaling and of art. You can put all your feelings and emotions, but you don't necessarily have to, the viewer doesn't have to know exactly where you are coming from. Obviously, you all know because you're watching a video and the process, but the end result, a lot of times people can connect to it by just feeling and seeing what you've created, but they don't always know all of the messaging behind your work. So I kind of picked my palette ahead of time, and then, just letting it flow. I really didn't have a plan here. I always look kind of towards the positive and the light. I immediately thought of these flowers, just kind of blooming, like, this rebirth, kind of like in the seasons. You often, you go from, everything around you is kind of dead to this rebirth. So these flowers are kind of this symbol of, moving onwards too. I don't want to sit in my pain and my fears forever. I want to find ways to work through them. And for me, it's being vulnerable, opening up. So look to what that might mean to you and what symbolisms you can put in here that represent that kind of renewal or working through some of these fears. So I'm going to kind of create some of these dots as a way of connecting my emotions to my physical body, to the physical page, but also kind of as a symbol of my own self journey. Again, we talk a lot about outward journeys and travel and adventure, but sometimes the very most important journey you can do is within yourself, so that you can be better for those around you and you can really experience, the beauty of the entire world. I mean, if you are struggling so much internally, you're going to have a hard time absorbing much information and excitement from the outside world, even when you travel and when you're on the go. In my journal spreads especially, I like to use a lot of symbolism. These little marks aren't just marks. Usually a lot of times they actually are significant of, that connection to my head and my heart, the connection to my own journey. And again, just writing down your thoughts as you go. It's beautiful that in art journaling, you can really write as if you're writing in a diary or journal, combined with your own artwork to really work through some different ideas. It's really a place that you can truly self-reflect and discover new things about yourself and of the world and others around you. So I used my soft pastels and my white gel pen to come in with marks and details and outline some more. And now I really want to come in with this liquid fluorescent pink. I just want to make some drips down it and get a little messy, kind of reflecting the side of life that it is messy. And, even if you perfectly try to take on escapism and, you do it in such a way, it's still going to be messy. So that's just kind of a fun way to kind of add some drips here. I just put a little piece of paper down to avoid getting, paint all over my desk, but bringing in that messiness that is life right into this piece. My goal for some of our videos here is to really just give you prompts and ideas to dig deeper into yourself, into your own art journey. If you're looking for more instruction, as far as art goes and technical, we go into more of that in our online classes. So feel free to go to our website to check those out. But this is a place that I really want to just inspire you with some ideas. Maybe you don't know what to paint, or maybe you just want to do a little bit more self-reflecting or journeying through your journals. And I just want to give you some ideas and prompts to get you started. So I came in with that neon green and my blue and, really made kind of a mess of it all. And I love it. I think it really, shows that kind of chaos that happens in those moments where you do feel like you want to escape. When I want to escape, it's usually me escaping something that I'm trying to avoid. So usually it's chaotic feeling for me. So taking those moments and really showing kind of that chaos that goes on in your head, and then bringing a little bit more chaos to the left of the page, and then this kind of softer stillness as if she's taking the time to reflect and sit back. So I'm even going to come in here with even more stillness by adding, blending some of my white with this neon pink and kind of a wash to give it like she is almost taking the time to reflect and sit still and be present. Even as the world is chaotic and it's still moving, she's actually spending the time herself. She's taking control and essentially allowing herself, putting herself in the driver's seat so that she can be present no matter the circumstances. So, the exact opposite of escapism, being present. And I'm trying to reflect that by giving a calmer side here on the right. I hope you connected with something today, or this inspired you in some way to possibly work through some of your own escapism in your life. As always, thank you for following along. I would love to see what you create. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And I can't wait to share more travel and art related experiences and lessons with you, as well as kind of continue this self journey, because that is something that we continuously have to work on in order to experience this world. Thank you so much for being here today.